This is a settlement. Most people would place this just about anywhere. But you would be much more interested in what a Catan national champion would do. And if you ever get a chance to meet one, you usually only get to ask them one question. Meet Mr. Gnome, a Catan player from Chicago which apparently boasts an amazing Catan scene. He is an avid tournament player and after placing really well in several tournaments, finally hit his stride and finished in first place in the US National Championship. So how did he finally become the champion? Well, Mr. Gnome has a secret. Let's take a look at the game board for the final game of the championship. Can you guess which color Mr. Gnome is? If you guessed red, you'd be wrong. Mr. Gnome is blue, and has a grand total of 10 points thanks to largest army, longest road, and a victory point development card. And if you ask Mr. Gnome why he won, he will tell you that the biggest factor in his victory is like so totally obvious, dude. He said the first thing he noticed was that there was only one good source of wheat, the 8. The other wheats on the board weren't even close. Mr. Gnome was second in place, and he decided to take the 8-4-11 spot. How do you think he felt about that? It's not ideal numbers, but wheat is just that important. Sometimes you have to sacrifice a lot to make sure you get it. And as the initial placements continued, and the options started to narrow, he decided to pick 6-4-2 for his second placement, which he seemed pretty happy about. It gave me plenty of ore to go with my 8 wheat, and it gave me brick and wood synergy on the 4. This is all very interesting, but can the decisions of a Catan national champion really be simplified into just a few sentences? I think it's time we ask him that once-in-a-lifetime question. In an average game of Catan, what is your strategy for initial placements? What followed was the most clear and straightforward advice I've ever heard about starting placements, and he broke it down like this. If you can, get on all resources with your starting settlements, with those resources on the best possible numbers. This often requires planning ahead and predicting where other individuals are going to place before you get to place again. If you have to make a choice, go with the better ore and wheat spots, and make sure you do not get locked out of either of those. If you can't do number 1, place so that you can build towards the 5th resource and get on it by your 3rd settlement. Always ensure that you're on a good source of wheat. If you cannot do number 1 or 2, make sure your first expansion, aka your 3rd settlement, is on a useful port so that you can trade for that resource. If you cannot do number 1, 2, or 3, make sure your starting settlements are on ore, wheat, and sheep, such that you can build cities and use development cards to gain the cards you don't have by playing Knights, Monopoly, and Year of Plenty. This is one hell of a flowchart, but he doesn't stop there. This Catan champion was determined to drop some serious Catan knowledge that was going to change your world. Or at least get you out of 4th place. Try to balance your resources well in terms of probabilities. Wood is only useful if you have a brick to pair with it, so it may not be worth trying to build to more wood settlements unless you have a port or another way of getting brick. If you're unbalanced in some way to start, like say having way more ore than wheat, or way more brick than wood, then aim for your subsequent settlements to become more balanced. With more balance, you will 7 out less often, and you will be able to build more often. 7ing out is when a 7 is rolled and you have 7 or more cards in your hand, and you have to return half of them to the bank. If you run into this situation, you might also want to get more familiar with trading strategies, like this. I'll trade you a dad joke for a like. Ready? What is the best place to trade sheep in Catan? On Wall Street. Playing a 4-player game means that there are less good spots on the board to expand to, making roads less valuable. Instead, it's important to maximize production from your starting spots, which of course you can do by building cities. Thus, in a 4-player game, ore and wheat are by far the most valuable resources. You will also want to get on sheep to pair with your ore and wheat, so you can buy development cards and control the pace of the game. Keep your spots uncovered, as well as use your Knights, Year of Plenty, road building, etc. to gain the wood and brick that you likely sacrifice to get the good ore and wheat spots. And as a bonus, you'll be getting the largest army along the way. That is a really good point. In a game where expansion is naturally limited because of the number of players, you want to be cost effective and conscious of your expansion options. Development cards are key. It is not unusual for every single card in the deck to be bought in the tournament game. If your 6 ore is blocked 80% of the game, the other players will basically have turned that 6 ore into a 12 ore. Not only that, but being stuck with a robber that long has allowed other players to realize the full potential of their spots. You will often see other players sacrifice better probability spots in order to ensure that they can get on ore. Expanding to make settlements is just too costly to rely rely on. 6 resources if you have to build 1 road, 8 resources if you have to build 2. They also require 4 different types of resources, whereas cities only require 2. Though being on all resources is important, you'll have a hard time winning without ore and wheat. Ore and wheat can't be beat. Got it. Ports are definitely valuable, but port strategies generally are not. Ports should complement your strategy, not be essential to it. The problem with relying on a port is that your port resource is often too easily blocked, denying you not only of that resource, but also the resources you hope to use the port to trade for. That being said, you generally want to get on a 3-to-1 port in every game because of the flexibility it provides. So that means 3-to-1 ports should be a moderate consideration when placing your initial settlement roads. That's really important information. Wheat's crucial because it's used for everything that gives you points. Settlements, cities, development cards, it's used in more things than any other resource. Don't have sheep? Build cities. Don't have ore? You can still build roads and settlements. Don't have brick or wood? At least you can build cities and buy cards. Don't have wheat? Good luck. Also just as important, if you can prevent someone from getting wheat, you essentially prevent them from getting more points. They're also going to have a much harder time spending their resources, since you need wheat to do almost anything, which means they are getting hit by 7 more often. Typically someone's wheat hex is a great spot for a robber for the same reason, and it also prevents them from buying any development cards to get the robber off. I'm telling you right now, if you start using this strategy, it's going to make a big difference in your game. Also, when I asked my subscribers what the most important resource is, clearly they know what they're talking about. If all else fails when picking your starting settlements, you can always make up for it by getting better at trading on Wall Street. If you're liking this Catan content, let me know. And if there's any other board games you want me to dive into, I can't read your mind.